Welcome to the Shadowlands pre-patch survival guide, where you'll need patience. A heckin' load of patience. So much patience. Alright guys, see you in Shadowlands. Ha ha ha! These suckers. What's up gamers, it's TreeSap Jake here with yet another video, and this one I thought would be a good one to do. It's going to be me explaining what my thoughts are, what my processes are, going through some twos games that I did during the pre-patch. This video is very much inspired by my friend Wagz, so shout out to him. Thank you so much for the idea in your one of your latest videos. So I put a link to his channel down in the description, so if you want to go check him out, he's a really good rogue, gladiator rogue, so you can go check him out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a few games. I'm going to tell you my thought processes, what I usually go for, because a lot of you have been asking me about what I do versus certain matchups versus certain classes. So I'm just going to go through and just show you what I do in twos. Hopefully it gives you a little idea, gives you a few tips for surviving, for doing the damage and trying to get out your bursts as much as possible. So let's just get started. This first game here is me versus an arms warrior protection paladin. Now we lost to one of these just beforehand. It was pretty devastating. They did a heckin' amount of damage. It was crazy. In this one, went completely balls to the wall, decided to go a bit hard, so let's just get cracking. So my aim is I'm going to be moving across here. I'm going to be trying to get in combat, and I'm going to be moving up the stairs. The reason why is because I want to be able to knock them off. I want to try and get all of my flame shocks up on both targets as much as possible. Trying to do some damage. These guys are going to go hard, so obviously I can just thunderstorm off that. Trying to get some hex out, onto this paladin, but obviously I can't. So my teammate there gets the rep off, so we get the trinket and we get the bubble as well. So that's a lot. So all of their sort of big damages, their big defensive cooldowns, sorry, have just come out there, so we've got the time to actually just process. And obviously I've taken the arms warrior quite low now. I haven't used any of my burst. I've still got it all up. I've got Earth Ellie out, so for protection as well, that's really important. You get a 40% wall with your Earth Ellie, so if you get that out sort of when they start going ham on you, you not only get the stuns on some of the targets, so you can choose the target to stun with the Earth Ellie stun, but also you get that extra wall, so it's always good to press that. Obviously they're doing all their big damage, so I'm trying to off-heal myself. That's a big key. I trinket to get the tremor out. Trinket is definitely worth, if your healer is in CC, if you want to trinket and tremor, get them out of there. That's perfectly fine as well, especially against this. The only time I don't recommend that is against rogue. So I'm putting my damage out. Now I'll go for my damage here. This is what I do. So I press Stormkeeper. Stormkeeper's up and ready. So that's lasting for what? As you can see up in the corner, I've got about 13 seconds, 12 seconds almost left on that, on the two charges. What I want to try and do here is after the stun, get a hex out on the Prot Paladin. So that I can now do damage onto the warrior. So I can do my burst rotation, which is the Stormkeeper into Echoing Shock, into Blood of the Enemy, and then put down Sky Fury last, and then press Lightning Bolt. So obviously I'm done there. After this, I kill War Banner. I do the hex, full hex. I now move away from the paladin so that the paladin doesn't get hit by Blood of the Enemy and it breaks hex, which would be devastating because then you can do all that massive amounts of healing that you can do. The warrior wastes his spell reflect, because all I'm going to do is I'm going to press Echoing Shock into that, and that's going to do nothing. And then I'm going to press my burst. So here we go. Sky Fury down, and then the damage comes out. And then obviously we get the rep on top of that as well. And it's all over. So that is everything. I'm now going to play you the full clip. This next clip here is against Assa Rogue Disc, so obviously reminiscent of Season 4 BFA. still a tough fight. We don't have Shadow Dance, we don't have the ease and the CC that the sub has, but we still have the damage output. The damage is still very high, so let's get stuck into it. So normally in the get-go, I would normally run in and I try and Earthbind. However, what you can see here just before I get up here is that the priest hangs back a lot. So knows that I can Earthbind, knows that I can get in combat that way and obviously stop the opener. So what the rogue is going to do, the rogue is going to sap me so that I can't get to the priest, so I can't get the Earthbind down to get in combat, because that's a very key thing. When you go up against rogue, you can just put down Earthbind on the healer. If the rogue doesn't go to sap you, because 90% of the time they'll be going to sap the healer so they can start on you. So you get the Earthbind down, and then you get your Earth Ellie out, and then you're pretty much safe from the opener, which is really, really good. But here, obviously, they don't. So I go up, I get sapped. So I sit the full sap. He then starts on my healer, because obviously it's a paladin. Priest runs in to do a fear on me. I sit the full fear, but then it gets dispelled, which is nice. Then I put down, so I pre-tremor the mind control. Obviously I can see him casting it, so that's instantly out. What I can do here afterwards is I can do a few things. I can knock the priest off, I can hex the rogue, but I decide I'm going to knock the priest off, and then I'm going to start going and doing damage on the rogue to try and put some pressure on him. So priest gets knocked off. He's really pushing into my paladin there, so obviously I go the damage. I force him off. I lasso him. He pre feints the lasso, but then we also get pain suppression. So that's actually worth. I haven't done any of my big damage, and we've got pain sup, and we've got the feint. Obviously, feint's on a very low cooldown, so that's not a problem. But against this rogue, you need to be careful, because obviously they can just really tear into you and tear into healer as well. Paladin is very susceptible to that. So obviously, I'm just going to chill here. We can obviously deal with that. We got their human trinket there. I get the full hex on the priest. He has no death. We get the blind. I'm sat in a full stun. I then trinket this, so I know that he's going to bomb. Obviously, full blind. He's going to kidney shot me. He's expecting the paladin to use his symbol. So he's going to obviously press his trinket very quickly. He bombs it, obviously to stop the cast. So I know he's going to do that, and then obviously I press trinket as well to get out the bomb. So that was kind of very lucky. But I had an idea that he was going to do it anyway. So then I'm out. I've got my fire ellie out. So I'm obviously doing some damage here. Getting them down very, very low. I'm going to get this is where I try and do some damage. And this is where I make a mistake. So I've got my Blood of the Enemy on the priest. I should really hit the priest here, but I decided to hit the rogue for no reason. I then kick the priest, thinking that would be more worth. Obviously, he gets gripped. I don't agree with that. I think what I really should have done is done my damage on the priest to put pressure on both. I'm then running in. Normally what I really suggest, and I obviously haven't done in this, is that I would normally purge both targets so I can get the stand buff off both. But the game ran really, really quickly, so I didn't have enough time. If you feel like you don't have enough time to do it, don't worry. There's no pressure to purge. Feel like you do it when you need to, but if you get a down moment and if you have nothing else to press purge. It's really useful. So obviously I lasso here on Dark Archangel. I put down grounding as well to try and deal with the damage that comes up from the priest. He puts down barrier into nothing. Again, I know I'm about to press hex, so it's probably pre-doing the hex go, but I'm doing no damage. This is very good. This is looking really good for us. So they don't have anything for my setup in another 30 seconds when Stormkeeper's up. That's the full hex there. Obviously, I try and knock away this guy, but the stupid wall has stopped that. So my Paladin running. I kick the Master Spell. Very important when you're playing with Paladin. I can't stop the mind control here. So I'm just going to jump down. Unfortunately, I had a global for the tremor, but normally if you can tremor it, he releases it. I've got to run back up and keep the rogue in combat. That's very key. I could press tremor now. I do. No, I don't. No, he does it anyway. So normally in that you could press tremor, but before I could press it, the rogue's back on him, so I don't really need to waste it. I can keep that for the next tremor or the next mind control. This is where they make the mistake. The priest goes back up and the rogue stays down. So my aim now is to keep the rogue down here. The paladin's going to stay down here, and I want to try and hex the priest when he comes back down, because he will be in my line of sight, and I can just control this now. So obviously I lasso him, keep him down there. The priest comes running down, put Flame Shock on. I go for the hex now. He sits a full hex. Now I chase the rogue, put Frost Shock on him, so he can't move anywhere. Obviously it's kind of tough because they're just running around. Using a bit of damage, Earth Shock, and then he's dead because the paladin damage as well. And that's pretty much it. So now I'm going to play the full clip for you. Okay guys, with this next clip, the game goes absolutely perfectly. So in this one, it actually just goes very, very well. I'm really happy with this one. Everything goes, I make a lot of really good decisions, and I pre-plan a lot of my goes with this. So in fact, I only do one go, but the CC is actually incredible in this one. So let's get started. It's against Resto Druid and an Unholy DK. So I run in, I press my Flame Shock. I'm obviously slowing him a little bit. This guy pops everything on me. So my plan now is obviously to get away with all the damage with the Thunderstorm. Now, this is something that you can do. It worked quite well in the pre-patch. I don't know if it'll do so well in Shadowlands, but just to kill A-Bomb. A-Bomb runs at you, and it does a lot of damage, and just passively in general. So I'm just lobbing my Lava Burst in there, trying to get it away from me, trying to destroy it so that the DK's damage goes down a little bit. As you can see, the Restoration Druid gets a full Hodge. I believe he's going to trinket this so that he can get out and continue to do some healing. Yeah, he trinkets there. I'm then doing some damage. I get stunned. I'm just trying to run away from the DK, destroy this A-Bomb as quickly as I can. I think I managed to kill it just now, so I use a Frost Shock to get rid of it. I'm taking a lot of damage, but I put my Flame Shock back on the DK. I'm running back. I'm just chilling a little bit, trying to do some damage, purging away some of the hots on him. I want to get a bit closer to the Druid because obviously your kick is quite a low range. You want to be in range so that you can do it. It's obviously not as large a range as the mage one or the warlock one can be, so obviously with the pet running in. So I want to make sure I'm in range. I want to make sure that I'm trying to avoid as much damage as possible. It's sometimes very hard to keep moving, especially when the DK doesn't slow ever. And your slows don't last very long, so you put down the earth bar and try and run. I get the freedom as well, so I get my fire rally out. I want to lava burst this guy. He kicks me on fire, so there's no kick now. I now kick the Druid. I stun this guy. I get bashed. I get a Hodge now. Sorry, not a Hodge. I get a Blessing of Protection, which is insane. That works really well for me. That keeps me out of there. So what I'm going to do now, and this is kind of crazy, is that I know that the Druid is about to run away and continue healing. He's just put Ironbark down. They overlapped Ironbark with Icebound, so they've got all of their defenses out now, apart from Anti-Magic Shell. So what I'm going to do, I know that the Druid is going to run away. I have no kick. Kick from the DK is down. He's got no grip, and he's just used a lot of his stuns on me. He probably won't want to stun me on DR off the Druid thing here, off the Druid's own stun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to Hex. I'm going to pre-Hex, so that as soon as this guy comes out for me, he sits a full Hex. So this is what happens. So I do the Lava Burst. Now he runs away. I start casting Hex. Obviously, he's got a global with his cooldown. He wants to do the healing. He wants to get his hots up. So he immediately gets sitting the Hex. He's got no trinket, so he has to sit that full 8-second duration. I press Stormkeeper. I'm about to run in and press Blood of the Enemy before this guy can put Anti-Magic Shell on. Just as a note, if you press Blood of the Enemy into Anti-Magic Shell, it will not work. But if you didn't have Blood of the Enemy, I'd press Stormkeeper, I'd press Echoing Shock, I'd make sure I've got Master of Elements up, which you can see up here with this little symbol here. That's my Master of Elements proc, using a weak aura there. I press Echoing Shock, put down Sky Fury, and then I press Lightning Bolt, and it will do a lot of damage here. So let's go. So I press the Lava Burst, make sure I've got our elements up. I press that. He obviously Anti-Magic Shell is way too late. I put down Sky Fury, I press Lightning Bolt a load of times, and before the guy can come out of Hex, he is dead. And it all works perfectly in my favor. Alrighty guys, and that is everything for this video here. I'm going to play the full clip so you can see it, but otherwise I'll catch you in the next video.